It's finally here. The review for the Ticwatch E. Does this watch tick all the right boxes for me? Stay tuned and find out. So guys, after 3 weeks, I finally have a review ready for you guys. I just wanted to make sure that I got everything tested that I could in a 3-week span so I can get this video out to you guys. So prepare for spoilers right now. I do like this watch, but let's go ahead and break it down. So let's talk about some of the dislikes of this particular watch. We'll get to the obvious, which I'm sure you guys have read on a lot of the sites like Android Central and a few others about the battery, and I'll get to that one and give you my thoughts on it. But let's start with the band length. So I have a fairly medium to large sized wrist. I'm not super large, but as you can tell, it's pretty thick. And so I always have to put this on the fourth notch right there, which usually feels a little tight for me, especially while I'm working out. But it's the best position I can have when I want to use the heart rate monitor. The third one is a little loose and it's a little bit more form-fitting, but when you put it on your wrist, it looks kind of odd when you put it on the third notch. The next dislike I had was the Bluetooth connectivity issues I had. So I would say the 4 times I actually wore this at the gym and used it to stream music from the watch itself to my headphones, I lost connectivity briefly for about maybe a minute or two, and it only happened twice, so 50% of the time. It's not bad. Like I said, it happened in the beginning of my test. First 2 times I took it out, it was a very, like I said, minimal, but it was noticeable, so I thought I'd bring that to your guys' attention. So if you do see some issues when connecting your Bluetooth headset, it is there. Now, it may clear up with hopefully the eventual Oreo update that this watch supposedly might be getting, or is getting, depending on where you read it. But hopefully a lot of those issues will be fixed in that update. And this leads me to, obviously, the big dislike, which is the battery. So the reason why I took 3 weeks to really fully invest time and give you this review was because of the battery. And so initially I seem to have had a few issues. So I did contact the manufacturer, Mobvi, I believe is how you pronounce their name, or Mobvi, or Mobvi, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And they instructed me to do a couple of things, which I'll tell you on this video. So the first thing to do is between 1 and 3 times, make sure your battery's at 100% and use the watch until it gets all the way down to 0 and it dies on itself. Then you plug it in at night, recharge it back to 100%, and you do that, like I said, up to 3 times. That should clear up most of the issues. For me, that did not. It cleared up maybe 1 or 2 with the battery that I was noticing, but it didn't clear up everything. So the second thing to do that they instructed me, and again, I'll give it to you guys here, is to put the watch in airplane mode and turn off all notifications just to be on the safe side. So basically, you're using this as a regular wristwatch, no smart functionality whatsoever. What you do is you look at the battery, and if within an 8-hour period, if you lose more than 8 to 9% of battery, then you have a problem. And so they instruct you to go ahead and go into their support services, email them, and ask for a replacement watch. So I did that test, and mine fell right around 9 to 10%. Now I do have to say I did fiddle with it a little bit. I was just constantly checking it. So if you get this watch, don't do that. Just do exactly what they say and let it run for 8 hours with everything turned off, except for the watch, of course. And that way you can test to see if you have an issue with your battery. So I did that. Like I said, I fell within the 9 to 10% range. So I continued to test it out the next week and a half. And I have to say, surprisingly, I have found it to be better. Now, I don't know if there's a larger breaking in period, than other watches, but it seems to have worked. And so let me give you an example. So let me turn on the watch here. It's already on. But as you can tell, I'm at 76%. And so that 76% is from when I took this watch off the charger at about 7:30 this morning. And I just put it on airplane mode right now to give you guys this review. So I've gotten a bunch of text messages and emails through Gmail, and I'm at 76%. And as you can tell, it's 5 o'clock my time right now. So that's pretty darn good. I can't complain about that. So whatever I did is working. Another thing I'll tell you guys to do is your notifications. Be lenient with your notifications. If you want this thing to last a full day into a day and a half of use, I would say be liberal. If you have work email and other things like that, and you want to get all that, fine, but just know that you're going to get probably 12 to 14 hours of good use before you're at 30, 40%, maybe by let's say you take it off at 8 and by 6 p.m., you probably need to put it on the charger if you have a lot of notifications. Mine are limited. I have Gmail, I have AO, I have Hangouts, and I have my own the text messages I get through the messenger service of my phone. A couple other things, but I don't get email notifications from work and a few other things because I get a lot of those. So that's just going to drain the battery. I wanted this for more of a personal use and also to use it at the gym to track my steps and heart rate and things like that. And for $120, this watch did everything I needed it to do. Now, if I wanted to be a little more aggressive, like I said, and add more notifications, I can. But to test it out for you guys, I wanted to make sure that it hit all the right boxes for me, or I should say it ticked all the right boxes, for me. And this watch did it, obviously. Now, some of the things just to kind of side mention, this watch is not the best for lifting weights. And the reason for that is just obviously when you lift weights and the pressure of your wrist goes back, it tends to flex the band a little bit. I wasn't afraid of it breaking this band because as you can tell, it's a pretty decent thickness on the band. There's not a lot of issue or anything like that with that. It was just, it felt kind of awkward, and so I didn't want to damage the watch or my wrist in any way. Another side note for that, for the watch band, is you see the quick releases here and here, and obviously you can put any other watch band you want, and obviously it's a quick release, so there should be no issues. And I'll demonstrate it here. It pops off, pops on, and then go ahead. Doing this live is funny. And there you go. And so, sorry, I clicked the screen. So there you go. That was pretty simple, and you can swap out for whatever band you want to do, a metal band you can, or another rubberized band you can, or leather, whatever you want to do. I kind of like this band. If I were to pick anything, it would probably be another one of these rubberized bands for the gym, just one specifically for the gym, because it's obviously starts to sweat and everything like that will start to make this band stink. So definitely something you want to look at. So let's get into the likes. So some of the things I liked about this watch, I already mentioned one was the interchangeable watch straps. Especially for the gym, I'm definitely going to get another one, like I mentioned, because constant use of this will make this band start to almost leave like a residue, and it'll start to smell. And obviously I don't want that, especially if I use this watch for both at work as a business watch and for something for the gym. So definitely want to get another one for that reason. The design's very simple, which I know it sounds kind of weird to use it as a but I like simplicity in a lot of things. If I want a fancier watch, I can get that, but this one fits the bill. It's obviously it looks like it's like a plastic, but it doesn't feel plasticky to the touch. It feels kind of solid, but the watch itself, it fits the bill for what I need. And what I need for this watch is to be able to be used outside when I'm gardening, digging holes, planting trees, or planting herbs or getting dirt ready for the garden, stuff like that. At the gym a little bit, like I mentioned, or just to use it at work. It's a simple watch. I don't have to worry about it. It's pretty rugged. It's an IP67 rated watch, so I can get it wet, and I have without any issues. And so the design fits exactly what I needed for this watch to be. The third thing will be the volume from the speaker. So if you look at the bottom of the watch right here, the volume that comes out of here, the sound I should say that comes out of here is amazing for a watch. It's not gonna blow you away if you have your standalone headphones or anything like that. But this thing it blew me away for what was coming out of my wrist, especially when it was strapped to my wrist. Along the same lines of that is the speaker, or to talk. People said I sounded clear, a little muffled but clear nonetheless. So that was good. Again, I don't like to look like I'm Dick Tracy or Inspector Gadget or any one of those guys. So I tend to just use my phone and my phone alone. But it's nice to have a watch that tells me, hey, who's calling if my phone's in my pocket. So it's one less step I have to worry about. I know it's only a couple of seconds to a lot of people, but those couple of seconds do matter to me at times. So definitely I like that option. The stock watch faces. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's open this up and look at the stock watch faces so you guys can see some of them. You got time lapse, you've got astral, simple green, a heartbeat one, calendar, Google Fit, analog, LED watch, the blues, old castle, colorful, elements pointer. There's probably about 25 to 30 that come with the app when you download it and you set it up through Android Wear, which is really cool. The one I tend to use the most, and I know I'm probably going to butcher the name, but it is called Coyote. This one, as you could tell, gives me the option of setting up this round part right here for the battery indicator. Again, you can change it to what you want to use it for. I decided to use the battery. This one is the current weather. This one is my events calendar. And this one I'm setting to Christmas, since I'll be off from work during that time. And I just like it. The images that are on the background are from the Weather Channel, and they change. I think it's every 24 hours. So far, I think I've gotten the same one a few times, but there's probably about 5 or 6 that it rotates through, and they're really nice. So that's a big plus to me. Along with that is the screen clarity. It's really clear, except for when you go and use this watch in the sun. If you look directly at it, it just completely washes it out. You can turn the brightness all the way up. Obviously, that's going to hinder your battery a little bit or a lot of it, depending on how often you do that. So kind of keep that in mind when you take this watch out and you try to look at it when the sun is the brightest. The magnetic charger that goes right here, it's simple, it's quick. I go ahead and click it on here, and I have a 3.1 USB port in my power outlet in my house, so I'm able to just charge this directly from there, which is great. I don't have to have anything extra for that. Now, when I take it on trips and stuff like that, I do have a charging brick that I take with it. So I do have a way to charge it when I'm away from home. And also it's magnetic, like I mentioned, so anything that's metal that you have near you, that's obviously you're not going to damage anything. You can clip it on there and it won't fall. I did that a few times on my trips, and it's been awesome. So highly recommend that. And last but not least, and probably the most important thing about this, is the price. So about $120 when I got it. Now you're probably, right now there's some deals for the holidays, so you still might be able to get it around that price, especially on Amazon. And I'll link the Amazon prices, as well as what Ticwatch is charging for it, in the description below, so you guys can have the latest updated prices. But for $120 for what you get out of this watch, granted, it's not going to be your 2 or 3 day beast of a watch like you can get from this Samsung Gear Fit or the Samsung lines of watches that they've come out with the last couple of years. But you're gonna get a solid performer for the price that you're getting at it, so can't really beat that. So the first image I'm showing you guys is how Google Fit is shown on the watch, which is pretty interesting. I liked how it displayed my time, the exercise I was doing, and it was really quick and easy on this watch. Second image I'm showing is from the now playing feature that's on my Pixel 2 XL. I like how it shows up on the watch too, which I didn't really expect that to happen, but that's a little bit of some coolness there. I guess coolness factor, if you like to say that. I don't know if that's cross Android Wear 2.0 and watches that are connected to the Pixel 2 XL, but there you go. You have that as well that you can give to this watch if you'd like to. So in conclusion, I have to say, if you want a simple and cheaper smartwatch with Android Wear 2.0 built right in, you guys look no further than the Ticwatch E. It has those likes that I mentioned. Obviously, it does have dislikes, something that you have to look at and test for yourself to see if you can compromise with that. Now, at 140, 150 bucks, you can get a lot of the earlier Android Wear watches that came out this year. For around that price, they're selling right around 160, 170. And those will be getting the Oreo update coming up soon. However, this one came with Android Wear 2.0 right out of the box, just like a lot of those. And when I got it at 120 bucks, it was a steal. Could not do any better than that. So if you guys can get it for around 120, 130, I highly recommend you just pulling the trigger and getting it. Like I said, this is the E. There was also the S, which is about $20 to $30 more. So if you want a more sportier look, you can go with the S. But I went with something that I could change the straps out later on if I want to. And I'm just excited about just finally have a watch that I can use on a daily basis. Now we'll see in the next couple of weeks as I continue to use it how I like having to charge it every single day. I do want a smartwatch just like some of the watches back in the day. I won't name any names because unfortunately they're no longer for sale, like Pebble, and obviously Fitbit, which is, I know they just launched their own smartwatch. But when you can get a week, 5 days to a week of use, and we're talking about some heavy use, that's the kind of smartwatch I want. But again, I was looking for something on the cheap. This was it. This fit the bill. So highly recommend this, guys, if you can get it for around 120, 130, like I said. Just pull the trigger. You guys will like it. And again, if the battery is an issue, just let the support know. They'll send you a new one. However, I will give you this one caveat. You do have to send your watch back. They will not put a hold on your credit card or anything like that, like Google does with a lot of their replacement devices. You will need to send your watch in. Once they get it, they'll test it. If they see that there is a problem with it, then they'll go ahead and send it out to you. So because the watch is manufactured over in China, it could be a week to 2 weeks before you get your replacement watch. So keep that in mind. I did put in a request for replacement early on. They had asked me to do a couple things, which I mentioned already on the review for you guys. And they never responded back to me as far as if my range was in the sweet spot for them in order to either say, no, I don't need a replacement, watch is good, or yes, I do. They just went ahead and said, you need a replacement. But they didn't give me any rhyme or reason. They didn't say, oh, okay, yeah, your tests prove anything. So take that with a grain of salt. They may or may not read that message if you do mention it to them when you do some of these tests, if you have to do them later on. But like I said, for the price, this is the watch to get. Again, this is the Ticwatch E with Android Wear 2.0. And that's my take on tech. What's yours, guys? See you all in the next vid. Later.